Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Toronto Police Headquarters. Today, Deputy Chief Rob Johnson will be joined by Detective Sergeant Stacey McCabe from the Homicide and Missing Persons Unit and Detective Michael Kerr from 42 Division to provide details on a homicide investigation. Following the remarks, both will be available to take questions from the media. Deputy Chief.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm joined today by Detective Sergeant Stacey McCabe of the Homicide and Missing Persons Unit and Detective Michael Kerr of 52 Division. And we're here today to provide an update on homicide of a 62-year-old man, which was our 29th homicide in 2025. On August the 31st, the 62-year-old man was taken to hospital after he was violently attacked. He was later released, and sadly, on September the 4th, he succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased. The cause of death was determined to be related to this attack. We have not yet located the next of kin, and so the victim's identity will not be released at this time. Today, we are announcing that 2 individuals have been arrested and charged with this murder. What is very concerning is the age of one of the accused. A 12-year-old male who cannot be identified has been charged with second-degree murder, along with a 20-year-old man, Isaiah Byers, 20, of Toronto. This is very concerning to our community. Chief Demke raised this as a call to action last week, given 8 of the 31 homicides have youth facing homicide charges. I will now turn it over to Detective Sergeant Stacey McCabe.
Early in this investigation, we learned that this homicide was part of a series of violent attacks that took place on the morning of August 31st in the downtown core. This was a disturbing crime spree. These assaults took place between 5:45 and 8:07 in the morning. As you will see on the map here to my right, the first assault took place at 5:45 a.m. in the area of Yonge and Dundas. The accused approached an underhoused male and began violently beating him. One of the accused was armed with a hammer. This male was able to escape, and the accused walked away. They continued west on Dundas until 5:52 a.m. when they encountered a second underhoused male and began assaulting him. Again, one of the accused was armed with a hammer. This victim was able to get away and was taken to hospital. The accused continued west until they reached Nathan Phillips Square at approximately 6:08 in the morning. It is here that they encountered a 62-year-old underhoused male sleeping on a bench. Unprovoked, they began violently beating this male. Again, one of them was armed with a hammer. It is this victim that later succumbed to his injuries. Following this attack, the accused continued on foot to the area of Yonge and Gerrard, where they asked to use the phone of an elderly gentleman. They grabbed his phone, and when he tried to get it back, he was pushed to the ground. The last assault took place at approximately 8:07 in the morning in the area of Yonge and College. One of the accused approached a male in this area and asked to use his phone. When the male refused, the accused slapped the phone out of his hand and threw an object at him. Thanks to the keen eye of 2 young officers from 52 Division, the accused were arrested shortly after this final attack. All of these attacks were extremely violent, and they targeted vulnerable members of our city. Through our investigation, we have learned that more people may have been approached by the 2 accused on the morning of the attacks, or that people may have witnessed these attacks. We would like these people to come forward so that we can get more information from you. As you know, this is an ongoing investigation, so there's limited information I can provide beyond what I've said today. However, Detective Kerr and I will try to answer some of your questions. I can speak to the homicide, and Detective Kerr can speak to the assaults in 52 Division. Thank you.
Do we know what provoked the attacks? Why these 2 individuals were targeting unhoused individuals?
I don't know why, but except to say that it's concerning that these young people would be targeting such vulnerable members of our city.
I know statistically speaking, crime is down, and also statistically speaking, most crime, victim was attacker. But in these cases, the suspects are very young, and the victim seemed to be random. I mean, how much of a concern is that whole picture? They didn't even know who they were doing it to, and maybe they're all, even the 20-year-old is pretty young for these types of things.
I mean, it's very concerning, and as I'm sure the deputy will chime in more, but the chief addressed this last week and spoke about how concerning this is to us and the need for engaging all of both us and our community partners to address it. I don't know if you want to say more on that.
Thank you, Stacey. Yeah, just to reiterate what Chief Demke said last week, this is really a call to action with all our community partners to make sure that we find a way to intervene when young people are involved with these type of horrendous crimes. But if you look at, the last little while, the young people that we have charged with carjackings, home invasions, all types of serious crime, it is concerning. So we are obviously concerned with this trend, and we're working not only with our community partners, but all levels of all governments to make sure that we can do, we can have some reform in areas of bail reform, maybe even the Youth Criminal Justice Act. There's a bunch of things that are on the table right now for discussion because it is concerning, certainly within our community here in Toronto, but also right across the GTA and even nationally.
You mentioned reform, Randy. These guys repeat offenders? Or?
No, I can't speak to that at this point, but it's part of a larger picture when we look at, the folks, the youth, the young people that are involved in these this type of criminal activity. The fact that they can pick up a gun and escalate, to this point. At some point, somebody should have intervened. There should have been some signal somewhere that we should be aware of, so we can avert this.
Are you able to speak to why the second-degree murder charges were laid? It sounds as though there was this intention to injure several people, given there were at least, I think, 2 attacks before the homicide. Why second-degree murder?
I'll let Detective Sergeant McCabe answer that.
I mean, I'm not going to go too much into the details of our investigation because, as you know, it will come out at trial. But based on the investigation that we've done so far, that was the appropriate charge.
And the victim that succumbed, they succumbed in hospital. It said they were found outside. Can you give us some more details on that?
The victim left the hospital and was found a few days later, deceased.
Can you speak to if any supports are being offered to increase sort of support for people who are sort of unhoused, given so many of these sort of attacks? And obviously we have another pretty high-profile case that just concluded through the courts that was also young people attacking a homeless person. Is there any special support that's now being offered?
I mean, that's something that that we as an organization, I don't want to overstep, will be certainly looking into, as the deputy just said and the chief said last week. That's certainly something that we recognize needs to be addressed, and we will work with our partners to address it.
Maybe one thing, just, I'm sure that most of you in the media are aware of our core program. We have outreach to underhoused members of our community. So there are things that we are doing proactively, organizationally, but also locally in each division. There are programs and officers who are assigned to make sure that we're out there, trying to connect with folks that are underhoused.
Statistically, crime is down in the city. The homicides 30 is below what we were at this time last year. Some of the other kind of major crime markers are down, but these are pretty jarring given the ages of the people involved, either the accused here or in some of the cases the victims have been very young. So how do you balance the message to the public where crime is down, but the crimes that are being committed seemingly are very kind of jarring because of the people that are involved?
The numbers are what they are, and as you mentioned, statistically they are down year over year, but that, provides no level of solace to a victim, somebody who's been hurt, right? So it's an individual thing. When somebody is harmed or hurt, or the community is impacted. So while the trends are encouraging, each individual incident itself is problematic, especially when it's so violent. I mean, this is just unbelievable. You have a 12-year-old. We've had a number of incidences in the last couple of weeks that you just shake your head at. It's unbelievable, and this has to stop.
Are the accused out on bail right now?
All I'll say about, I mean, you know that there's a young person involved. All I will say is that they were both out on a release.
Sorry, they were both out.
They were both on release orders.
Are the accused both of Toronto?
I can't speak about the young person any more than we already have.
Were all of the victims experiencing homelessness, or the first 3?
It seems the first 3 were.
And then the other 2 were people who happened to be out? out at the time with phones, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so approach them if they believe they were vulnerable, just. What's your question?
Sorry, but the actual homicide victim was unhoused though, is that?
Yes.
Thank you.
If anyone wants footage of the court program, we did provide a video last week to the board showing our officers working in the downtown court and putting it.
Thank you, Deputy. That now concludes our press conference. And just to remind everyone to report any information anonymously, please contact Crime Stoppers at 416-222-TIPS. Thank you for coming.